Hello and welcome. The Cafe Cast returns. Just as scatterbrained as always, I'm sure, but well, we'll have plenty of time to get to that. Okay, here with me we have Gunmetal Gladius.
Alright then, good evening ladies and gentlemen over here. My name is Gunmetal Gladius here, and I'm just here to say I'm happy to be back here for another round of Cafe Cast for the brand new season of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, which will hopefully be a good discussion here around, because I'm very much despairing and induced at this moment.
So very formal this time around,
Harley. We decided we weren't sure we were ready to bring this back, so just in case we gave everyone cue cards to read off of. And apparently my handwriting's not very good.
Oh, that's what it was. Next.
Alright. And that brings us to the next one in the group, Crimson Glow.
Hello, I'm Crimson Glow, your future evil overlord of all things pony and otherwise in this world. Bow down, bitch.
Mm-hmm. So Crimson is still Crimson. I'm glad you know that now. Daylover.
Hey, I'm Daylover. Isn't that what my wiki says? Next.
Oh, you wrote it. Omniviewer.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am the Omniviewer, newly published author of Operation Red Dragon, The Daikaiju Wars Part 1.
Yay.
Alright.
You don't mind a shameless plug, do you?
Nope.
There's so many that are going to be in this anyway. I don't think that's going to matter.
Yeah, I mean, you've pretty much accomplished more than I'm sure like 99% of the Brody fandom as far as people who make entertainment content in the Brony fandom, so
Hooray.
go ahead.
Oh. Showcase that IRL accomplishments, man. Yeah. Show that IRL cred.
Yeah, flash that shit.
So
in other news, I'm almost graduating.
Oh god!
Oh look!
Congrats.
Whoa.
Here.
Hey. Huh? Happy Pony just pulled a Bigfoot.
What?
Alright. Please
I just saw your message saying to get on.
That is right. Please welcome to the Cafe Cast Calliope Pony.
Hello. What are we talking about?
We're talking about every single episode of Season 8 up to now, except the most recent one.
We haven't started yet, so you're really lucky.
Well, technically we did start maybe a few minutes ago.
Yeah, but we didn't.
Oh, okay. But we're still introducing each other.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Next.
So I guess that was pretty good timing then.
Yeah, that was almost perfect.
Yeah.
Just before we get to the final person in this cast tonight, the editor.
Wait, hold on. This isn't my rift. I don't work here.
We kept
This isn't my editor. Okay, you guys misread my message there. People weren't showing up. I told you, whatever, just throw in the editor of my videos, not an actual guy named the editor.
But here's my sweet gray wolf. And he has such a nice little booty.
Is he a brony?
Well, no shit.
Okay, good. He's already more qualified than the guy I had in mind.
And I thought the term was clocked.
Oh.
No, it is rump
Whatever
queen,
you want
thank
it
you.
to be. Hello there, my friends. I am the editor, and we're presenting from the Secret Rift here today, and also the channel Cut and Print. Happy to be here.
Hey. Alright. Mm-hmm. So, we have, oh, look at that. Wild Calliope fled.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
What? I'm still here.
It's all darkened out.
I was just like, what are you talking about? She's right there.
Oh, I just saw it all go black at once. I assumed you dropped out, but okay.
It doesn't show your icon.
She's an invisible girl. She's an invisible
no,
girl,
I'm not sure. I'm not sure why my picture is not displaying. I can't see it on my computer either, but I'm here.
Okay.
It's like Neverland. You have to believe in it for it to be there. Or something.
Believe!
I believe in Santa Claus! I believe in Santa Claus!
Well, we are watching past.
I do believe in fairies. I do.
Well, first episode, school days.
Alright, so... Yeah, we have a lot of episodes to catch up on, and I would apologize for falling so far behind in this season, but it's mostly put me to sleep, so can't help it. But,
Blasphemy.
alright.
Oh, I'll blast.
So, really quick going around, just,
Oh, there's the icon.
yeah. Everyone's okay, we're gonna have to do quick summaries here of every episode because we got a lot to fit in, but, alright, first off, same order as I introduced you guys in, what'd you all think of School Days? Gladius.
Alrighty then, I felt like one major problem that this episode introduced was very much like the movie continuity that was forcing down everyone's throat at the beginning, and how, like, inconclusive it was, like, showcasing, like, it throughout that premiere. But really, like, it was, like, sort of like a mid premiere, like, only like a bit higher than from like the crystalline from season 6, if only because of like the interesting premise of like an actual thing that Princess Twilight Sparkle would do with her authority. Creating a school of friendship makes the most amount of sense, and I think the best amount of character development the characters should have gone through, like for like nearly at the end. But then stuff such as like the Quappies, like that actually exists in the Everfree Forest, just only diminishes that plane of existence even lower. And combine that with like actually good introduction to this Student 6 group, in which all of them I can pretty much enjoy their characters and such. And also introducing like the season antagonist, which would be Chancellor Naysay, which we resolved the problem, not really resolving it, of course, sort of like how Starlight was in season 5, but it was less spectacular in how we shoo away the person for the moment. So overall, with the main 6 / Starlight / Spike, all of them in top form, even when it comes to like the flaws showcasing, I think this was a pretty okay premiere.
Okay, so just like that, but shorter, everybody. Crimson!
Here's a question, though, before we carry on. Since it's School Days Part 1, Part 2, is it best to do both of them at the same time?
Yeah, it's basically the same story arc, so it's... well, not necessarily a story arc. That implies that it's like a complete arc. It's just...
It's
like,
one episode, 2 halves.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
One continuous plot, yeah.
Yeah, there's so much plot that you need to make sure that you spank all of it.
Ooh.
And I'll make sure to turn it into the Rump Queen.
another bunch of product placement bullshit. As far as this the School Days episode or the opener goes, I enjoyed the music. I enjoyed the character of Chancellor Naysayer. I think one of my bigger issues with it is maybe the fact that I think my first problem is the fact that the song that they used, not maybe the best executed. It definitely needed a song in the beginning to get everything flowing correctly. Like, that was necessary, but I don't think it was well written. I think that the problems of it aren't really horribly showing. I think it definitely shows that sometimes there's not one way to teach a lesson, and that's definitely what we learned. But I do think that there are a lot of flaws with the fact that they were like, "Oh, this is how we've always taught. Now we must teach it our way." What? No, there's a rule for that. Okay. I guess we're moving on from that then, because apparently Celestia didn't implement an actual school system for friendship.
That is fair, actually.
Although saying she's the princess of the sun, not the princess of friendship.
Yeah, but she was pushing Twilight towards friendship so much and making sure that she learned friendship lessons. You would think that, maybe there should be a rule about some of these. It kind of reminds me of this one picture that was on DA a while back. I don't know if it's still there, but it's Chrysalis looking through the rules of the kingdom, and she's like, you're not a monarch, can't officiate a wedding, right? My wedding with Shining Armor, if we went to Las Pegasus, would be more legit than this. And then Celestia's like over here in the corner going like, oh my god, there's so many new rules I never knew. Apparently, you cannot artificially make alicorns.
I think that was the same
That
one
explains
where...
a lot, actually.
That one also had a panel in it where Luna said, "So I am not legally married to Thor, God of Thunder," and Thor goes, "Oh, thank you, Jesus."
Okay, Daylover, what did you think of School Days?
I love the animation, I love the story, and there's only one problem with me. That's the small porcupine in episode 2, right? That they're battling. Elsewise, I think like it's really good with the friendship and the new characters and the school design, and I also like Naysayer until he becomes a racist. But yeah, moving on next.
Hi.
There we go. Hey, that's the way to go, right?
But all right, so short and sweet. Okay, perfect. Omniviewer, how about you?
It was an okay opening. I mean, it's not one of the ones that blew me away, but then again, it's not the only one that hasn't blown me away, so, I wouldn't necessarily say it was a disaster. I do kind of wonder, but with the whole Board of Education and the attitude Naysayer has, I was getting serious Cold War McCarthyism witch hunt vibes from him. So
Yeah, I got that too.
Yeah, that's making me wonder, what exactly is going on behind the scenes with Equestria's relation to the rest of the world? Is it actually as dark as some of the fan fictions have been implying? Because
I mean, if we can get opinion, if you could while they're talking about this, have the Russian Soviet Union anthem go by while in the background, slowly building up.
It's more like a Pony American History X, right?
Oh wait, no, it's the Our Town song.
Oh,
it's the instrumental of Our Town.
All right. Well, anyway, so yeah, Omniviewer. Any other thoughts though? If we cut you off, I didn't want.
I do like the new cast of characters in the form of the students. They're interesting. A yak who manages to still embody everything about the yaks without making you want to hurt her is a good thing.
Yes, it is.
Don't beat the children. You remember the rules. We don't beat the children unless it's with a tool.
Exactly.
I'm going to say this right now. Yana the yak is hungry Soma.
It really is. She's too adorable for life.
Mm-hmm.
Editor, your turn.
Okay, this is actually kind of funny, me talking about this on a podcast, because literally today I just uploaded a review on School Days.
Woo!
So go see the full opinion for that.
Pretty much, yeah. Look here.
Link here.
All I will say is, I am, out of everything, I am a lover of references. And if I see a reference in a show, I am so happy. And Naysay himself is 3 references in one. One, he's voiced by the Brain. 2, he's Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
And 3 is basically because he uses portals to get around, and our lot in the TSR have only just put that in canon that we use portals to get around other people's channels. So that kind of made me very, very happy, the fact that they're getting references here and there and that. But when it comes to the episode itself, if I'm allowed to be blunt, okay, School Days, as an episode, as a starter, it's a fucking piece of shit.
Burn.
And I will fight you on this, that at the very most, it's meh.
Yeah, I will fight you as well.
This
The
is
girls versus the boys.
We'll get to the fights to the death later, but care to elaborate a bit?
Okay, basically, I'm going to put it this way. I'll just place it to this thing is, throughout all of the times we have learnt the lessons, it's been life events that the cast have come up to realising themselves. So it's like, if an event happens to them, the entire episode is a journey for them to discover this lesson. And that way, they learn inconspicuously. Like, the children that even watch the show at home, so it's like, they're watching at home, and you've got Rainbow Dash acting all show-offy and bragging about saying that I'm the best, and I can do everything, and oh no, hang on, there's another person who is better than me at something. I'm going to get extremely jealous and start framing them because I'm jealous and try to make myself look good, then realising that it's not good to make yourself out to be like the best of the best, to just be you and all that, and kids can go away from that thinking, yeah, you know what, I will not try and outdo my friends because they are my friends, so they can go away learning for that. School days, it's basically, we've got these lessons for you, kids, so sit down and we're going to shove them down your gob until you learn them, like an actual school does. That's not being,
they're throwing the rules out the window,
inconspicuously.
Isn't that the point of the school, though? Here's the thing.
Exactly.
When
they're forcing learning.
Sweetheart, isn't that the point of the first episode? They're teaching it in the way that they would otherwise teach it to a students of an actual learning facility, like an actual school for magic or for general learning. And the point of it is that as soon as we get through the first song that we hear, they're teaching it the main 6 ways, where they're trying to do it through lessons in life, or through a fun way that they learned how. Whereas,
exactly, and that's why I liked it. But then Twilight comes along and saying, no, read book. That's how it got it so bad.
That's the point. That's the point, though. You're supposed to, little by little, it starts going back to the way that that the already established rules are going. And then Twilight says by the end of the last part of that, I can't talk today. The second episode, the third act, she's like, you know what? Fuck that. I'm going to give you these. You want to do the rule thing? Okay. Here are a bunch of established rules for my learning curriculum, because clearly this is not working. And
Except
then
it wasn't her who came up with that idea. It was Starlight.
Yeah, you could
Isn't
argue
that
it was
better,
kind of
though?
a point made, not sewn into the story, but sort of sledgehammered in.
But she
Exactly.
forced the book out, though,
The
and make
reason
her
that
own.
the reason that this
they
got
did.
on my nerves, and why it has continuously got on my nerves, is the fact that Starlight, ever since she's been... Okay, I'm going to get a lot of hate for saying this, and I honestly don't fucking care about it, but ever since Starlight has entered into this, she has become a better princess of friendship than Twilight has.
I could see that.
I could see that.
Yeah, I could also see
Exactly.
that.
So you've got this person who is basically torn apart because her one friend was taken away from her. So she thought, hang on, if everyone's equal, and that way everybody doesn't have to get separated because of their equalities. That's good. That's a good motivation.
they're
for being a
inequalities,
villain.
sweetie. They're inequalities. You said equalities
Exactly.
like it was there.
Oh, sorry, word wrong. But as we go along, we learn that she learns of her mistakes and tries to build upon her mistakes. So much so that when she's needed, like the last episode in season 8, where she's the one who stops the... Actually, no, I'll go through it. She stopped the change. She stopped Queen Chrysalis from taking over by basically showing you need to give friendship, not take it, in order to survive, and that's how we get the good changelings. She was the one who defeated the Shadow Pony by saying that you can't hold on to hate because of things that got you down. You've got to express yourself in your knowing to everybody, and showing that you are part of something that is bigger than anybody, not just that to have self-appraisal. And then with this episode, we have her basically going up to Twilight saying, you gave up too easily because you were following the rules instead of using your brain. So never mind following somebody else's rules because it's not something that applies to those rules. You have to make your own rules because it's for something that's different. Starlight
But does that make her a better quote-unquote princess of friendship, or does that make her a better reformed villain? Because the point of a reformed villain...
Here's the question, though. What exactly has Twilight done to prove herself as being the princess of friendship ever since Starlight has been a part of this show?
Ever since then, or just...
Season 1, episode 1?
No. Ever since Starlight became a member of the cast, what has Twilight done that Starlight hasn't?
She made sure to help Starlight to understand that making friends is going to be a difficult thing when reuniting with her town, her old town. She had her go over there and go like, Starlight, you gotta face this at some point. Like, no! No, I don't.
They have at least, if nothing else, given Twilight, the token power of her being the one who's supposed to be in charge and know everything about this. But we can debate later, though. I mean, let's let everybody at least finish their putting their thoughts out there.
Speaking of which, Calliope.
Oh, wait, I don't know if we let editor finish.
Oh.
No, my main point is said that I did not enjoy the starter.
Okay.
Yay, Calliope, then.
Okay, so the thing about this two-part episode is the beginning felt like a season premiere, and the end felt like a season finale. And it felt like there should have been an entire season's worth of episodes of her trying to figure out how to start a school and recruiting students and recruiting teachers and making lesson plans and trying to find out what she needed to do and getting it all set up.
But that would be boring.
Yeah.
So basically, what you want
think about it. They could have had. They could have knocked out 6 episodes with each of the new characters getting recruited to the school, and then it could have made an entire episode about each of them.
No, I mean, I'm saying that as a sarcastic comment, when you, okay. They're in the boardroom. You're like the plucky new guy that's like, let's have Twilight make a school, and the executive's like, cool, make a 2-parter of that, and we'll be done with it. But. We there's a whole lesson plan, and we have documents, and
we need the new main 6 to come in and take over. No, I'm just kidding.
And then what you're basically making it sound like is you want season 8 to be an MLP version of Saved by the Bell.
Oh my god, that would be great.
No.
You could do it better than Saved by the Bell, I will say
I mean, if there's a certain show you want season 8 to be based off of that's school-oriented, it better be Netsy's Classified School Survival Guide.
Oh my god, I loved that show.
My vote would be for Clone High, but...
Wait, what?
My vote would be for Clone High as far as basing it off of school.
Revive that last MTV cartoon. Revive it.
Alright, the rest of Calliope's turn, though.
No, it just felt like they crammed so much, and they could have gotten so many more episodes out of it, but instead it's like, I think I'm going to start a school. Bam, next scene, here we've got a school. So
MLP has never been good for framing.
Unless you're talking about season 1, in which case the time framing was pretty spot on for the season finale. I think that as far as anything afterwards, it's a little less so. And I think that's possibly because they just want to put in so much at once, and they don't have. They usually only have 24 episodes.
Well, or the they might be trading off overarching visions. They switch story editors a lot. It could be that each one is all right, where do you want to take this show now? Well, it's
kind of like an RP session that they all have. it's a Dungeons and Dragons game. The DM is Hasbro, and it goes okay, so Twilight Sparkle, you've just started a school. Okay, I I roll for intelligence and for determination and for time skip.
Yeah,
You get a natural 20. You get a critical 20. God damn it, that's a really short episode.
Yeah.
Twilight Sparkle, you are the magic user. Pinkie Pie, you are the acrobat.
No. Pinkie Pie would be the bard. Just as she was shown previously in Dungeons and Discord.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Now I do like the idea. I do like the idea of the main characters passing on what they've learned in a school setting. I just felt like they chucked it onto one episode and threw it at the audience when they could have just done a whole lot more with it.
So you feel like there was a lot of lost potential?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, though, I guess I'm not against somehow setting up some kind of an organization, taking this somewhere else. The idea of the need to start a friendship school, because clearly other places in the world need, like, not just the ponies to show up and help where a magic map says there's a problem. They need to set themselves up as the only nation in the world that knows about friendship. That strains my already strained tolerance for friendship being their version of the Force, essentially.
We must get them very young. We must get them much younger and make sure that there's not a guy named Anakin.
Yeah.
So,
That would suck.
yeah.
In my opinion, the Jedi are evil.
Yeah.
Well, then you are lost, much like this movie.
Yeah.
This hypocrite has the highest midichlorian level seen.
Oh, wait, honestly, other things in that movie might be worse, but scrolling it back, yeah.
Although that would explain why.
God.
That would explain why the yaks speak like that. If they were all like Yoda's race.
Yeah, probably. Like, actually, no. It would make more sense if the yaks had spoken it backwards, like phrase one part of the phrase, the other part of the phrase.
Perfect it is not. Smash it we will.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my god, that would have been so much better.
My
Like,
approval
could you
rating would have gone up
imagine
for them. But
Perfect it is not. Smash it we will.
Okay, guys.
Yoda yak. That sounds like something out of Dr. Seuss. Okay, but anyway.
We're getting distracted with Star Wars.
Yeah, but I mean, like, for a while, the way they structure this episode, it does kind of show some of the tackiness of that. Like, they try to blend it together with the process someone would actually go through in setting up a school, but, I mean, it comes across a bit like... Well, it comes across a bit like they... okay, you know what? That's my train of thought. Okay, this almost just gets too complicated at once here. Twilight is trying to build a school that revolves around friendship, but she needs to structure it like a school when it doesn't make sense for there to be a school about friendship. It does kind of make sense for there to be a community organizing good international relationships and cross-cultural understanding and all that.
Oh, I just realized, babe, you forgot a reference.
I'll let him finish, then we'll come back to that.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but yeah, the moral of the episode seems to be that, okay, turn it into less a traditional school, more of a community, which is probably what it should have been in the first place. But I mean, you can see that the thought process and them kind of trying to awkwardly get this to the point where it's something that actually makes sense. But
I just thought, when you're done, I just thought of a really interesting way to reinterpret the whole thing.
Ooh.
Interesting.
Ooh.
Okay, anyway, but that said, even though this episode doesn't bring anything this episode is not a knockout, as I think editor pointed out, for a and Omni as well, for that matter, for a two-parter. It's not exactly a wow factor episode, but it is kind of a grower. Like, the new characters all kind of bonding with each other, that actually felt a lot more natural and freeform and fun than a lot of episodes I've seen from the show lately.
I mean, it's a lot better than the first time that Twilight meets everybody.
Yeah, I do agree with that.
I don't agree with that, but... Well,
I don't either. I like the pilot better than this one.
I think it'll find a fun job, Dave.
Yeah, the pilot is definitely is more fun.
The pilot made me love everybody from the get-go. This episode took a while and then made me like the new characters. But, I mean...
What would you do if this was the first episode? Would this still be a factor?
If this were the first episode, like, some pony wants to start a friendship school because friendship is magic and magic is friendship and love and friendship and we need to teach everybody, and yeah, I would probably
I get your point.
It's a little much, yeah.
Oh,
yeah, you'd come to the first episode and it's like, wow, the map's been updated. What the fuck's the map?
What is the map?
Wasn't that your reaction when you saw the show?
No. I liked when the map was updated, the fact that the movie was canon in the show.
Oh, yeah.
I thought you said, what the fuck, when we saw that the first time. We were watching the episode, and you were like, oh, wait, that's canon now?
No. When I saw the map was updated, and I was like, oh, why is that changed? Then the second they started talking about the movie being canon, it's like, that's when I flipped.
Is what?
Oh, never mind.
Oh, yeah. But although that all said, though, I do kind of like where they take Twilight in this episode. I mean, this is as far as Pinkie Pie's portrayal, for example, has gone lately. I mean, I've rolled my eyes at episodes that seem to go the route of, like, hey, Pinkie Pie is stupid and weird and doesn't get it. That's funny. Like, and applauded, like, episodes that are able to, like, take the kind of stuff that was funny from her before, but, like, put it in a new context. Like, I'm a Secrets and Pies defender because it brought back Pinkie's, screwball Pinkie Pie logic fantasies, but it gave us a new one that showed a new side of Pinkie Pie logic, and okay, but point being, I felt like they got more into Twilight than a lot of episodes I've seen lately, like her just sincerely wanting to start this school and not just kind of rehashing lesson 0 where she gets nervous and over anxious yet again. This time they play it more like this dream project that she's trying to get absolutely perfect, and when she bombs it because she was trying too hard to make everything go to a T, her reaction there, her having the Rarity crying on a couch reaction, I have to admit we haven't seen that from Twilight before, and I did buy it.
One thing I did.
Yeah, I liked actually seeing Twilight overwhelmed and depressed. It worked well.
Yeah.
That's kind of sick.
No. For her character and in the circumstances, it worked well. It felt like the right reaction.
Oh shit! Look at her. Her heart's been torn out. She's torn to pieces. She's in a pillow of her own misery. Yay!
That's what we want, yeah.
That's your reaction. My reaction is, so are you going to share the popcorn?
Yeah.
My
ice cream.
reaction
The
to
popcorn
that
with
part,
the ice
if we're
cream.
talking about it, was, okay, she's in a Harlequin outfit. Wow, Tara Strong, more references for Tara Strong, yay.
Yay.
Yeah, that was kind of an odd touch. Rarity brings Twilight an outfit to make her feel better. That's a jester outfit.
Yeah.
And it's just off-colored enough.
Yeah.
But it is my favorite it's my favorite season opener of the last 3, I will say. I like it better than Season 7's, I like it better than Season 6's.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Which was Season 6's?
Crystal Lane with the baby.
Princess Flurry Heart.
See, now that is where I disagree with you, because I think that Season 6's was the best opener.
Oh,
Really?
we can debate
Because-
after.
Alright, I'm gonna finish slamming my head against the wall now.
Let's debate after.
Hey,
Guys.
second.
Yes.
This is why it's always good to have another opinion.
Yeah, like mine.
Get on your Crimson. Get on your Crimson.
First opinion.
But I am the
No, you're
third.
the one.
If you're the first opinion, aren't I by definition meant to undermine you?
Oh.
Would you like a second opinion? You are also ugly.
You only have 24
That's
hours to
easy.
live.
Just
Oh
two
no,
hours.
I want a second opinion. Okay, you're ugly too.
Wow.
And I have a third. Let's move on.
Yeah, we've all shared our opinions about it now. Let's get to the second episode.
Okay.
One other thing I will say though about the episode. It seems to confirm that changelings are all named after body parts.
Yeah, that was weird.
Fair enough.
It's kind of fitting for like the old design, like that sort of aesthetic. It's like very gothic. It's like
One is
what's your name?
one is a coincidence. Two is weird. 3 is a pattern.
Yeah.
So Queen
Wait,
Chrysalis
so-
was the slightly less lazy version of Dr. Giro.
Maybe.
Wait, what part of the body is an ocellus?
It refers to an insect's eye.
Oh, okay. So it's all insect body parts. Right,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Well,
How
lots of
pharynx
animal-
is-
Well,
How the
we have a
pharynx is
thorax. Thorax refers to the chest, and lots of
Yeah, thorax is the chest.
and refers to that in pretty much any animal. You know, we humans have thoracic vertebrae in our chests.
Actually, if you
And-
think about that, that it also kind of relates to their personality types too, because like thorax
is the heart.
is the heart.
Yeah.
Is the brawn.
I can't wait
they're-
to meet the new changeling character, Cloaca.
Oh, waka waka!
Waka waka, motherfucker.
Moving on.
Yeah, let's move on before we get deeper into this topic because it suddenly becomes eye-opening.
Alright, nobody feels shortchanged though in what they wanted to say.
The season opener, it's got its flaws, it's got its good parts. Probably needed to cook in the oven maybe a few more weeks.
Anybody else?
The alternate interpretation, the idea of doing something that people are saying you have to do it a very specific way, but then you decide, no, we're going to do it a very different way. Isn't that kind of how the show itself was developed in the first place?
Oh, that's true.
Oh yeah.
I feel like the song for like this opener is gonna be very much forgotten because like the first portion of it was done like in the way it was intended to, try to be like awful, like showcasing like the decline of like the fun atmosphere of your first day, and then realizing that it's a soul crushing factory of experience, essentially going through traditional schooling, essentially, which is what the EPA is supposed to stand for. And it's gonna be sad because like I quite enjoyed the second part, but I didn't recall it as quickly because the first part is just so dang memorable with like just how low registered was to my subconscious. You got me?
Yeah.
And lastly, the whole thing about like the guardian for like these representatives of like outside of Equestria kingdoms. Like, at first I thought it was like Amber seems to be out of character, but then it's like we only were given like implied characteristics from her that she was smarter than the average dragon, when in fact she just acts like any other dragon. It's just that she seemed to be more open once she let Spike in from Gauntlet of Fire. So she's not actually out of character. I just wanted to point that out from like a certain post I read up from Pink Gold.
And she's also protecting her, what is that, cousin, or what it is?
Smolder.
Yeah.
Small.
Actually,
and we actually have schools like this in Denmark where there's no rules and there's stuff like that. We're surprised by that.
Have you brought upon this world?
Yeah, I know.
That is actually one thing that isn't very accurate in this movie. In this
episode.
In these episodes. It's the fact that if they're trying to get off to the kid demographic here, then when they say that the school's been closed down, but then they say, we're going to reopen the school now. Smolder go, they're basically going like, is this a trick? And Smolder goes, no, it's not a trick. We're going back to school. What kid honestly wants to go to school?
I would like to
this is like one of
the kids in the Harry Potter. Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually the reference I was gonna talk about afterwards, because they did reference the it was the court
scene with what's his face with Dr. Racist. Yeah, that was the Ministry of Defense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. But moving on, it's just the next episode.
Alright, so everybody's ready for the next episode now?
Hooray!
Yeah.
Yes!
Alright, because
so
speaking of needing to cook in the oven 2-3 weeks longer...
No, she doesn't need a bun in her oven. That's too much.
Joe's gonna try.
Alrighty then. Okay, but this time I'm gonna say, okay, season opener, we can throw back and forth on that a while. Like, I'm gonna say for the rest of the episodes, until we get to everybody throwing their debating back and forth, keep your initial summary to like 5 sentences or less. Deal?
When you say 5 sentences, you didn't realize that the sentences could go on for long, did you?
5 grammatically correct, not run-on sentences.
Well, then I'm going to go off.
Sentences go on as long as you don't put you the full stop.
Well, good luck to us. Anyway.
Try to work with me here. Make it your opinion in a nutshell.
I'm not going to work with you.
I'll work with him later.
I would say you're fired, but I've recently grown to hate that catchphrase very much. So then.
Yeah.
Did you get fired again?
Mod couple. What did you think? Right. Same order, Gladius.
Okay. Say hello to the destruction of trust I have for anything written by Nick Confalone again. Pinkie Pie in this episode. I never thought I would say this. This is worse than No Second Francis. My God. This is the absolute worst depiction of any main 6 character of the series. And aside from that, Mudbriar is okay in my opinion. I don't find him annoying. There.
He's a male mod pie.
Isn't that the point?
Yeah, that's the point. That is the point. That's why he's not annoying.
Accomplish anyway with him.
Mod is the least developed character because she's so deadpan. And that's why she's the most interesting, because somebody that's so deadpan and she's just interacting with these fun and enthusiastic characters. That is why she's so interested, because she's so against what we're used to.
You're the most basic of jokes.
Yay.
Exactly.
That's a great line, but Nick Confalone apparently thinks she's bad at stand-up comedy anyway.
Exactly. Any character that sounds bland and boring and can burn John Delancey, I will fucking fall in love with you.
Hear, hear. I second that. Because I haven't used that joke 100,000 times. Alright, and Crimson, your turn.
Alright, I actually want to disagree with, I think at least, I want to disagree that Pinkie Pie was not within character.
Technically?
I'm not going to respond to that. Here's the thing. Pinkie Pie has while she's always been like a super friendly character, she's always been super trusting. When it comes to her sister, she's usually pretty blindsided. Throughout that entire episode, it seems like she is blindsided by the fact that she knows Maud for her entire life, so she knows everything about her beyond what maybe other people would see. That was the point of her first coming up. That was the point of her coming up afterwards, that Pinkie Pie sees something in her that a lot of people don't. Mm-hmm. Now here comes somebody who's very similar to her, but also very different in some ways. He's a lot more snobby, he's a lot more know-it-all, he's very frank in comparison to Maud, who usually isn't frank at all. Mm-hmm. So having Pinkie Pie respond to somebody similar yet different, as well as making sure that we see that she is blindsided by somebody she genuinely doesn't like, actually fits for her character. Mm-hmm. Pacing-wise in this episode, it definitely started out as like a Starlight season, because a lot of people seem to be going for Starlight for a lot of things, including Pinkie Pie in this episode, because, they're Pinkie Pie and Maud are like best friends. So having those two come together and go like, hey, you might want to look at it this way, and Pinkie Pie just can't see it because Mudbriar is literally the latest addition here, and she wants what's best for her sister. So I don't think that Pinkie Pie was that bad in this episode, especially when she finally figures out, hey, I have to compromise, because she doesn't usually compromise. Writing-wise, comedy is pretty good. The pacing could be better, and I love the Big Bang Theory reference. I'm almost 90% sure that they tried to get the guy who plays Sheldon, but they just couldn't for copyright reasons.
He was still very Sheldon-ish.
He was very Sheldon.
I don't quite agree on copyright reasons, though, babe. I mean, because you've got John Delancey basically playing a Q.
I was about to say, yeah.
You've got John Delancey playing John Delancey.
Maybe they used all of their money on John Delancey.
And that's why they couldn't afford it. Weird Al acting as himself.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty much the reason. So yeah, that's what I think. You guys?
All right. Daylover's turn. Same thing, but shorter.
Sticks and stones
Same thing, but
my bones, but words can never hurt me. No, I love this episode.
I've been waiting.
I really like this episode. I see so much of like this couple, like they have so much in common, so it's almost scary. I see a lot of Mudbriar in actually my cousin that is having autism and having trouble with it. And I also like the notion like he knows her Maud better than actually her own family, and like he takes care of the things, the party, and stuff like that, and they agree at last point, so it becomes a party like she can enjoy as well, and I think like that's so sweet. So yeah, I'm sorry, but I'm sold on the episode, and I think like the jokes were funny, but like here we're so different with that. So yeah.
We're so different, meaning you and me?
Yeah, because you've seen the joke 1,000,000 times before, and I see it like a child the first time around, and see it as a new episode every time I, watch it. So and the way to see this is actually to change the stick and stone into body parts, and then it's going to be fun. Next.
well then.
Well, I'd love to take you up on that, but it's not my turn,
So basically what you want to see is just a bunch of ponies trying to stick a load of sticks into rocks.
Yes. You got it.
Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes.
Alright.
That puts
You
a
do
whole
know
new
that
meaning
kids
to
watch
the
these podcasts sometimes, right?
Oh, yes I do. It have to
All
grow
I'm
up
gonna say
sometime.
is, all I'm gonna say is,
I do not
all
care.
I'm gonna say then is gonna put a whole new meaning to the phrase being rock solid.
Yep.
That's all, folks. But seriously though, mentioning
Before
rock
we
solid.
engage in stick abuse.
Yay! Later. Oh.
Alright. I believe it's Omni viewer's turn.
Let's see. I thought the episode was good. I sometimes wonder, like, it's weird. I actually see a lot of people agreeing with Pinky that they find Mudbriar annoying and irritating and stuff, which kind of makes me wonder, but I mean, that's a particular rabbit hole that we can get into another time.
The only thing that's annoying about Mudbriar is the fact that every single time anybody says anything, he just closes his eyes, raises a hoof, just goes, technically! It's like I'm basically talking to Google. It's like I say a sentence, didn't you mean? I know what I fucking said.
Actually, I thought it was more like talking to people who comment on videos and have to say, well, actually.
Yeah.
Well, actually, this.
I've got a friend of mine over when I go over to the workshop where I do stuff, and every time I say a word, that's what he always does. I say something, and he always putting his finger out pointing, and he just wiggles it side to side, and just goes, not necessarily. And after like the fifth time he says it, right, I'm going to punch you in a minute.
Let me punch him.
It's like the people who keep. It's like the people who keep commenting on my Luna and Celestia video saying they weren't born alicorns. Born alicorns, and I've got so many of those comments. It's like, read the description, people.
Read the description. Look at the card page. Look at the card.
The description is.
I mean, technically.
I feel like I don't meet that kind of person very often, so I'm just going to assume that I am that kind of person, but...
I was about to say that about myself, actually.
Technically, it's still Omni's turn.
Thank you.
Like, seriously, that's why I don't find Stick in the Mud annoying. Seriously. He's just trying to lay down the truth about, like, the words that we might misuse in our everyday vernacular.
And he does make Mud happy, Mudbriar, so, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Although you can't entirely tell if Mod is happy because she never changes her facial.
No, you see it when she's with her.
No, she does.
With him.
I mean, me personally, I would find it even more funnier if we never see Mod smile. Like, it's just a permanent frown. No, it's just like she'd just be there, like, saying, like, I'm absolutely ecstatic.
I'm livid.
I've never been more happy in my entire life.
So, droopy dog.
Exactly.
Basically.
She's droopy.
Actually, in that way.
Even Droopy emoted, so...
Droopy did let you know when he was mad, and you believed him.
Well, no. A better example is Plank.
Plank, yeah.
Oh, God, Plank. No, Plank is evil. Did you hear those things he was saying?
Yeah.
Alright.
We don't talk
Plank
about him.
scarred a lot of people in their childhood, but anyway.
We don't talk about him.
I believe you were halfway through Omniviewer.
Yeah, I noticed no one's mentioned Marble and Limestone's contribution yet.
I was about to. I'm going to in my part. I was just waiting.
Well, I just felt it was an interesting way to bring Pinky around, because otherwise, I mean, there's what?
I just remember the reference I said to Crimson when when we watched it together, but I want to save that for when
you know what? I think I'll just be quiet, because I have barely gotten a word in edgewise for this part. So next.
You get back up here and speak. You fight for your right to speak like a... What?
Like a true equestrian.
We actually don't know what he is.
Yeah.
Like a Muppet dinosaur keychain necklace published author Wood. And yes, he's right though. This particular section is supposed to be for everybody to get their monologue in, and then we go back and forth afterwards. So you got something you want to say, like remember it, and make sure to just shout it. Yeah, let us know how eager you were when it gets to your turn.
So otherwise, shove it.
I've said pretty much everything I need to.
You sure, Omni?
Alright, very well. Well, I would object more, but it is this episode, so I can't be too disappointed.
Damn.
Calliope.
I really enjoyed the episode. I thought it was fun. I loved seeing Pinky interact not just with Maud, but with her other sisters as well. I loved Limestone's reaction. I'm not jealous. I thought that Maud and Mudbriar were cute together. I liked seeing that. The only thing that kept really bothering me was that they used the word boyfriend. They've never used that in the show before. It's always been either cult friend or special sun pony. They've never used the word boyfriend before, and it really threw me off.
They have used girlfriend before, though.
Yeah.
Have they?
Yeah, okay,
when?
Go to the episode where it's... I'm sorry to upset you here, babe, but go to the episode where they force Big Mac and Shirley to fall together. Sweetie Belle is singing a song, and she goes, well, nothing's wrong with this one, he seems alright. And then Sweet Lulu just he just goes, his girlfriend sure thinks so.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Use it there. But it still really threw me off hearing it through this episode.
I don't know.
I could have, stick to special sun pony, or at least try to. Like, people have corrected me on calling them people, and I always have to point out that Twilight said that Cadence sure had a habit of sneaking up on people in Canterlot weddings. You see, they at least try to stick to these things.
Ponies are people, too.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, the vernacular is every
Pony
creature.
lives matter.
Alright.
Pony lives matter.
Anyway, and I believe it is finally Editor's turn.
Okay, once my screen decides to turn back on again.
We can still hear you.
Okay, no, I can't see. Okay, so, I agree with Carius's point about Pinkie Pie being, like, not herself. Like, I do feel like, me personally, I do feel like she did a complete 180, because she's normally always one to welcome new people, but it was the fact that this was her sister, and she doesn't see, like, other people. She doesn't see other people other than from her sister. But Rarity did actually have this problem in an earlier episode. You know, when she wanted to hang out with Sweetie Bloom, and she always was suggesting baby stuff to do with Sweetie Bloom because she wasn't used
Sweetie Belle.
Say Sweetie Belle was not used to
So you do it too.
seeing her so like grown up and stuff like that. So I can understand that point to an extent. Mudbriar got on my fucking nerves because he kept on saying, technically, I was like, Jesus Christ, shut the fuck up. Okay, babe, when I come round in August, me and you were doing a drinking game on that episode. Every time he says technically, we take a shot.
Oh no, I can't do drinking games anymore. I did something the last time I had a drinking game, and it was not pretty.
Okay, we'll half the shots then.
Thank you.
Okay, so the one thing, though, that I love the most out of this episode was the sisters' interaction. Because the way that they showed, it's not what's on the outside, it's what's on the inside that counts, was that geode was fantastic. But it was a missed opportunity, in my opinion, because Pinkie holds up to both halves of the geode, one the rock side, one the other side. I really, 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 with all of my love, just wanted her to like slowly putting them together and just going, Mudbriar, Mud, together. This is the
Freaking Lion King too.
I swear, I really want to see an offset version of that.
You would pay money for that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I would have paid so much money to see that. Like, can someone like reanimate that version for me, please? I will spend up to $1,000 on it.
That would
You
be.
should probably talk to LightningBliss then.
Oh god.
Hey. Alright. And anyway, I'll say ahead of time on this episode, I do get it. I get what it was going for all the way across the board. That Maud only thinks she's good at stand-up comedy because she doesn't get social interaction. That Pinky thinks she's funny because they're sisters. That there's a cruel irony there. That Pinkie Pie doesn't get how Mudbriar is the exact same thing. That Maud has found her perfect match. All of that.
But
Well, see, there's a saying that these stories live and die by their execution. I think the difference between this story and the story it wanted to be is the difference between Maud and Mudbriar. AKA that it is a flat, obnoxious, lame imitation. Like... Okay,
I actually
how to
think
make
you just
Pinkie-
winning. I believe you just horse shuffled or chuffed. That's what it's called, chuffed.
Yeah, it looked like that.
I just thought of something.
What?
Have you noticed that Pinkie Pie has only ever gone crazy over a doppelganger of a character that already exists?
Ooh, yeah.
Because think
That's
about
only
it.
happened twice.
Exactly, but it's a bit of an ironic, isn't it? She goes cuckoo over a doppelganger of herself being cheese sandwich, and now she goes cuckoo over a doppelganger of her own sister.
And over thinking that her friends don't want to be friends anymore.
Yep.
Deliberately made doppelgangers of herself.
Oh yeah, okay. So one is weird, 2 is coincidence, 3 is a pattern. This is a pattern.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She's not used to having more than one of each.
Yeah. But I mean,
What do you think would happen? Sorry, I was just going to say, what do you think would happen if Maud and Mudbriar had a foal who took after Auntie Pinky?
Oh my god, that would be the funniest shit I've ever seen.
Yes.
I would morely expect the baby to be like Mr. Bean.
Oh my god.
that would be entertaining.
Yeah, just have a Mr. Bean baby pony just in there hugging a doll, just going, "Yeah, Teddy."
But I mean, like, you look at Maud's first episode, I felt like they actually did a pretty good job on that, because they, the angle they took with her is that she's kind of an enigma, that Pinkie Pie apparently gets her, but everyone else, when they try to connect, they just sort of miss. But as the episode goes on, and as Maud's episodes in general go on, they do start to show us a little bit more of her thought process. They do start to, like, show us bit by bit the dimensions there. Let us latch onto it. Let us see that, okay, she does care. She does have a heart. Mudbriar, for the counterpoint, he's the male Maud. He says, technically, because he's annoying. He's dry. He collects sticks. He's worried about stick abuse, because that is a thing that is people who are not total caricatures of caricatures care about. Like, how do you make Pinkie Pie funny?
Maud loves rocks. Maud loves rocks, but she's still willing to break them into pieces.
There's that, yeah. And, like, how does it make Pinkie Pie funny?
Because if I break one rock, then there's 2 rocks. So it's a win-win.
Would you say that she's rocking it while he's sticking to it?
Yep.
Ew.
And maybe Mudbriar
And I would
is
say,
giving her
babe, that
something
she's going...
that no other pony can.
And I would say, babe, that Mudbriar is going to rock her like a hurricane.
Yeah.
Oh my. He's really gonna stick it in her, huh?
Yep.
Oh.
This is a
I am so
show.
sorry, children who actually watch this podcast.
You see, when a mommy pony and a daddy pony share a special kiss, they get funky.
I just hope tonight Mod just doesn't go for the rocks.
When you're in your college years, you're not over this kind of humor yet, you see.
No.
No.
But it's still your turn.
It's really not my college years. I've been out of my college for 4 years.
Alright. Well, in that case, you got no excuse, so...
I'm a lewd lord.
Alright. But, okay, I'm gonna...
Finish up.
Set me up there, but no, I'm gonna cut myself off there before I get going. I'm just... Right.
Second?
Yes.
Can I add one more thing to this discussion on this episode?
Yay.
Okay.
Alright. Like, the other real reason why I really dislike this episode with great prejudice is the fact that Nick Confalone has repeated himself for an episode of similar play scene from Season 7. That being rock-solid friendship, down to the format of, like...
Bit, yeah. Except that was Maud and Starlight, and they're actually pretty fun together. It's just, even if Pinkie Pie was kind of crowbarred in and all in, but Mudbriar is, I think, far less charismatic than Starlight, so there's a problem.
Yeah, also, it's because Starlight and Maud, wasn't the first time that they met each other.
Yeah, it was.
No, it wasn't, because Maud and Starlight met each other before Starlight started stealing everything.
Oh, right. They show that
flashback.
the flashback.
Exactly. Maud was the reason all along.
Right, how about never bring
Hey,
that up
by any
again?
chance, you just happen to know about a magical cave in this area?
Over there.
It's right
Over
there.
there. Thank you.
Also, keep this stick next to you because I'm hoping that my boyfriend collects it one day.
The boyfriend I haven't gotten to yet. Kind of like how I was like, you know what? I'm gonna keep this entire collection of Robotech, except these first 3. I'm gonna give those to my dad so that I know the boyfriend that I will soon have gives them to me, and that's how I know he will be the one.
I mean, this episode, it was like Unova brought up Nick Confalone. This episode does have creativity, like Mudbriar's visual plane and such, and the friends floating out of Pinkie Pie's head, the friends' heads floating out of Pinkie Pie's heads and being opposite themselves. Not that I necessarily like all the gags like that, but I mean, it's trying, it's being creative. I just feel like it's totally directed in the wrong areas, just like these random visual gags and such, and meanwhile, like, how Pinkie Pie deals with the conflict, the second she doesn't get away, she starts Snaps and accuses Maud of betraying her and siding with Mudbriar, and Maud says, okay, I literally never said that, and Starlight, okay, maybe we can calm down and talk about that. No! I want this to be the moment where I dramatically run away crying!
To be fair, I have actually been in situations like that.
Yeah.
I mean,
where
people like that, I mean, there are lots of people that actually exist. People have pointed out to me in episodes where I thought it was rushed. Like, well, I've seen people actually go that suddenly with it. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm sure there are also people who have actually fallen in love with someone at first sight, convinced themselves they were meant to be, and believed it all the way up to marrying them. That doesn't mean I have to consider Twilight a good character portrait.
Oh, damn. And all of the flashlight shippers. Oh, wait, there are none.
The Twilight, the
No.
If I could say one thing in positive for Mudbriar, I could say he is a better character than Space Cadet, if you know the show I'm referring to.
Alright, let's move on before we get too far, because it's already like 3 o'clock.
Alrighty then. Okay. Trying to gain steam here. Fake it till you make it, which we're doing right now.
Yeah!
Definitely the weakest.
Alright. Going in order though. Gladius.
Alrighty then, Fluttershy is always in top form as it seems for these later seasons. Going through costume changes in order to gain confidence is certainly a nice little character issue to go through this episode. And However, it does seem to be a far less entertaining sequel to the Sour Roll Review that it seems based on the placement and reusing of some characters from that episode.
Fair enough. Crimson.
Weakest of the episodes as far as Fluttershy is concerned. I do the thing that she does with the, not necessarily costume. I understand that a costume, because I cosplay sometimes, it does give you an extra bit of confidence, but the main issue is that she didn't understand between reality and fiction, and it kind of killed the episode for me as far as everything else goes. It's not great. It's definitely the weaker of the episodes we're talking about. It's at least somewhat entertaining, but I don't think I would watch it, like, go out of my way to watch it again.
I think I'm gonna be on your side there, but alright. Daylover.
Yeah, something actually really interesting happened to me, remember? I watched the episode and I enjoyed it, and then we discussed it, and then it just went downhill from there because, like, I had problems with relating, like, it related too much to me, this episode, because I also, like, try to cosplay, and I know people that have problems with split personality disorder and stuff like that, and I think, like, Fluttershy pushes it too far, so after I was just like, I didn't even wanted to watch the episode one more time because, like, there was a golf version of her at one point, and I was just like, I don't need to, relive stuff through episode no more. And her taking it so far, so it's actually not helping anyone. It's only hurting, her store and Rarity herself, actually. I don't like that either. I like the costumes, and I like the episode in general, but after, when we discussed it, it just, like, it was too much for me, so yeah.
So basically, thinking back, wow, this episode hits really close to home on a lot of troublesome points for me.
Yeah.
Why would I ever want to watch this?
Good on you, second. Good on you for the big recap there.
Ew. Alright, Omniviewer.
Well, I think pretty much anyone who has a public platform like a YouTube channel can possibly relate to this, because how many of us put on personas when we're doing our particular videos, right?
That's true.
What do you mean? I did try to kill Celestia. What are you trying to talk about?
Alright, staying in character, that's good. Actually, speaking of which, there is an interesting thing that I equated this episode to, because I know that there are some actors who stay in character all the time.
Yeah.
Like, the behind the scenes of the Austin Powers movies, Mike Myers stayed in character all the time, whatever character he was in, annoyed the heck out of everyone. I think that's a huge part of why people don't really want to work with him anymore, and we haven't heard from him recently. But,
that's for other reasons,
yeah.
but
Oh no, what a shame.
I'm curious in a movie.
Yeah,
oh, what's wrong, baby? Don't you like my mojo?
You're getting spanked right after this.
Oh, please, Daddy.
Okay, so you'll see if you tune into the X-Rated podcast to see which roles they're going to be playing. But in the meantime...
Oh, I was actually done, so go ahead.
Okay. Well, in that case, I was going to say, it is Editor's turn, but actually, no, I got the order wrong. It's Calliope's.
Well, I liked this episode better when it was called Brotherhood Social.
Thank you.
Oh! Orchard Blossom for the win! Best actress!
I mean, it's basically the exact same story. You have a shy, retiring character who puts on a costume and takes on a persona for the sake. What?
That's first flaw in that. Big Mac's not shy. He's quiet, but he's not shy.
Has claimed that he's shy, and we've never seen that disproved.
Yeah, and he's also shy with Sugar Bell, so yeah.
There's difference between being a shy in certain situations and being shy in general. When we see Fluttershy, she's always shy no matter what the situation is. It's the only time that it is, it's
I feel
outweighed.
like you can be shy without being Fluttershy shy, though.
Yep.
And second, he doesn't get dressed so that he can be more confident. He gets dressed so that he can be the sister.
Well, I was in the middle of saying when you interrupted, they both get dressed up for the sake of helping someone they care about, and they take on a character and they become more confident and outspoken in that character.
Yeah, and take the character too far.
Yep.
Kinda.
This is not helping Day Lover right now with going back to previous episodes now.
Oi. Alright.
But no, it's pretty much the exact same story, and I thought Brotherhood Social did it better, so this episode didn't really do anything for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because that ends on a positive note, so yeah, I will agree with you there.
And editor.
Episode, if I didn't end up watching it, different than I do now. I could go away, not watch this episode, and I would be okay with that. It was boring.
Yeah.
It's like
it was. You got okay. Fluttershy trying to be like more positive with trying to learn. Like, I can get that. So she's got this one personality. Okay, worked for one time. After a while, it just she has another personality. Great, that's even more annoying. Threat, she's got that tease of the 9-minute show where it's just a different person who can't interact, but it's and in the end, she just basically goes completely against herself, even turning on her animal friends, which she's never ever done before. And
yeah, that just felt really off to me.
Exactly, and then you've just got all of this just carrying on where no one is buying anything anymore because no one is even remotely liking her the way she acts. I mean, I don't even think she recognizes the way that she acts sometimes. But the fact is, the first one of them got fired. That's fine. So the second one, okay, you just got fired. No, I didn't. She did. You are she. No, I'm not. Okay, you got fired as well. Third one comes along. Yeah, those two are useless. You are those two. No, I'm me, not those two. Okay, just go away. Okay, are we done? Okay, now you're back. It says, I'm sorry, did I go over the top? Yes, you fucking did go over the top, you dumb.
And that was a better execution of the ending gag.
Exactly. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 3 times, or you are sent to your death.
Yeah, I mean, actually...
Come back a 4th time thinking, did I go over the top? A lava bath awaits you. Fuck off.
Yeah, like, this episode, where it actually, I feel like it has something in common with the last one, that both Nick Confalone and Josh Hamilton are really enthusiastic writers, and they can be a lot of fun, but more often than not, there's at least to an extent to which they get just so caught up in, like, how over the top they can make this that they almost get lost in that and don't seem to care about tying it back down to something we relate to, and, like, yeah, in this one I feel like it pretty much gets lost in that entirely. Like, I was starting to feel what it was doing at first, even though it was, like Calliope said, kind of Brotherhood Social, where, okay, she pretends to be this fashionista, this confident, pompous fashionista, and she starts to feel it, and it starts to help her out, but then it just seems to get lost in how far it can push this really cheesy gag. Oh, no, now she doesn't even remember who she really is. She's just so into it that...
it sounds like a Looney Tune Tunes episode.
It sounds like a
bad Looney Tunes episode.
Yeah.
I mean,
There is actually a Looney Tunes episode kind of like this. It's called Bugs' Bonnets. Same concept, but it's like a truck full of hats opens and all the hats are floating around, and as Elmer is hunting bugs, the hats keep landing on them and completely changing their personalities. It's actually hilarious.
Yeah, I think I've seen that. Yeah.
That's different.
That's
It's
Looney Tunes logic.
Exactly.
Yeah. And
But
you guys were saying
all
like
the
a
hats
bad
are falling on different characters.
Yeah,
And
well,
every time the different characters fall into, they change their personalities. If it's the same per character over and over, it's not funny.
yeah,
Okay, because another example of this can go back to Ed, Ed, and Eddie, where it's that boomerang that changes their personalities opposite to what they actually are.
yeah.
You remember that episode?
It doesn't really
Yes,
change
I
their
do.
personalities, it just makes them do weird things.
No. Because think about. Okay, this is going to go into Ed, Ed, and Eddie a bit, but yeah, it does change and go opposite. You've got Eddie who's manly. What does the boomerang do? Turns him womanly. You've got Ed who's a dumbass. What does it do to him? Turn him smart. You've got Double D who is smart. You've got Double D who is clever and always high up. What does it do to him? It turns him into a laid-back slob.
But how is just belting out into song opposite of Rolf's character?
Because he's always saying random words. This time, he's just saying random sounds.
It's a bit of a stretch, but I did think that's what it was going for, at least with the other ones you mentioned.
And the same with Jimmy as well. He's a weakling.
Okay.
He turns into a muscle man.
But yeah, it's gag logic basically. And this
Exactly.
episode, kind of like, for example, like that. What about Discord, where it's like trying to explain how inside jokes were for people who have never seen inside jokes before, and presumably from someone who has never seen an inside joke before too.
That was just tedious.
Yes.
That was just awful.
I've just thought what this episode is. No, I'll let you finish second, I'll come back to this.
So, well, I mean, I close off even before they start taking it over the top, but like just to, I don't know, maybe some people will get into just how insane that was enough to say that. Oh no, I'm betting there was like some kind of a really clever vision there, but I mean, you can kind of see this episode going down its over the top, doesn't really care about sense rabbit hole, like even in the beginning with how the customers fall for Fluttershy's lines and such. It seems like a really limp parody of high society fashionistas. Like, wow, you said a big word. Clearly I need this thing now. Except
That's just marketing.
well, I mean, it's like it's somehow what's the word? It's like it's somehow just as over the top as how I just phrased it, and yet manages to come across like it thinks it's being more subtle. Like I say, it just comes across like kind of a limp parody. But or at least that's how I took it. But
At least you're not a limp opinion.
no,
That's
I will always be a tall, hard, strong opinion.
Can I get a second opinion on that?
Look,
you can get a third, and yes, it's true.
Information leaked.
Alright, going back to this episode, I will just say one more point. This episode is basically trying to pretend to be somebody you're not. This is a discordant discordant harmony done wrong.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, because before you've got Discord pretending to be somebody he's not, trying to impress somebody, but in the end he's finding out that it's okay to be who you are, because that is who you are. But ironically, Fluttershy is the one who teaches him this lesson, and yet this is the same lesson in this episode that she does it 3 times as worse.
As bad.
yeah.
That's hard.
Well, seems like we're all more or less in the same boat here, but unless anybody has something else from another angle they wanted to add.
I do have a weird way of interpreting this episode, but I don't know how everyone will take it.
Lay it on us.
You could actually interpret it as being an advocate for the nudist lifestyle.
What?
Okay, hear me out.
I'm sorry. What?
Clothes make the man. Be yourself. Or the
Yes, there is.
To quote Deadpool, what the actual ass?
Okay, just see if you can follow this. I know this because I researched this stuff for characters I write.
What
There
characters
are
you writing?
Hey, it's not a sexual thing, but
I know it's not a sexual thing. It's just an odd thing to research.
Huh?
Yeah,
It's
never know.
useful for this.
But anyway,
Anyway. Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, one of the principal philosophies of nudism is that clothes create a false image of who you are, and as Fluttershy in this episode is donning clothes, she is creating false images of herself and losing sight of who she really is. But once those are all discarded, she's her real self again.
Actually,
I mean, I can't prove that's what it was, but I don't know what the writers do at home, so...
Could be at least the same philosophy that they didn't know the nudists happened to share.
so first we get the stick, and then we have to be nude.
Okay, would you... Stop seeing how far you can push these things, you.
Oh, I can push it hard.
Oh no, push it further.
Oy. She beat you to
Also,
that
I
line
don't
by
like the
half a
I
second.
don't like the fact. Also, I don't like the fact that she said you have to get the stick and push it hard.
Yeah.
Okay, this looks like the perfect time to go on to Granny's Gone Wild. Oh, Lord.
Oh my god! No, no, no. You cannot talk about sex, and you cannot talk about sex stuff and go into a segue of old people. That is the
I mean,
worst
I think
segue
Granny
now.
Smith was trying to get it.
No, I mean,
Golden.
Yeah.
yeah.
But going in
I like
order.
Order. Gladius again.
That would be me. I would have to say, I think I found a new favorite in the Apple Elders, that being Apple Saucy, if you get my drift. Oh, God.
You go sit in the corner and think about what you just said.
I think by the end of this, we're all going to be in the corner.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yes, you are.
No,
Because
I'm
I'm
not.
here.
I will not defend this episode.
Oh no, we're not defending it. We're just making fun of how sexual it was.
Yeah. Yeah, like, definitely, like, this wasn't like a hit out of the home run episode. This simply was like a meh episode, like all the other episodes so far, except for Mod Couple, which was just, yeah.
Yeah, you just got the old people just like, hey there, you good-looking thing. Can you help me take my medication?
No. It's more of like I need your help. You see, I have a prescription that I need to take every day. And you seem to be the right type of stallion to assist me with it.
Oh my!
I need an adult that's not you. I need an adult that's not you.
Alright.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've actually said anything about your take on this episode yet, Gladius.
Okay. Aside from like the apple sauce being the best, really was like Applejack shows her incompetence in family matters and such by constantly hampering Rainbow Dash from making this episode be a standout hit. Like being like, okay, remember to be cautious about dancing.
Applejack, shut the fuck up!
Yes. It just felt like even it took a bit too long for it to get to like the funny outtakes of like just being like, yeah, I know what you're about to say, or like, get away from me, Cloud. Like,
Do I really need to say it? Took too long
Yeah, that
to
was
get to those kinds of lines.
a good line.
yeah, that was a fun line. And also, I never thought I would see multiple references and such galore that people clearly missed the Breaking Bad reference, all because
No.
of Rick and Morty.
No, we saw it.
We saw
Okay,
it.
that's
I think
good.
that was like a first thing that we saw, and then we saw like we just kind of commented on every single one of the other guys. Like, why does the hair on this one look like it came out of a cotton candy mix, but not the good kind?
Why is Rick and Morty in it?
I would not know.
I do like the fact that the Breaking Bad reference and their cutie mark is a bunch of blue crystals.
Yeah.
that was great.
There's a Rick and Morty reference because of the title reference. I mean, once you've done that, why not just throw in as many more adult references as you can?
This was
As
a very
much-
adult episode in general.
Okay. Wait. Are we just considering Rick might be going with one of the horseshoe girls?
Why don't we
I
move on to
would
Crimson's
not-
turn now?
Yeah.
I would not be surprised by that. Also, I found a new ship in this episode, and you know what that is?
Why don't we not
Trixie's
move on to Crimson's turn?
Trixie's dad with a Granny Smith.
It's
Because
not
you
a-
cannot look at that cult and tell me that is not Trixie's dad. I want the paternity test if you're going to say that.
You are the father.
You are the father. I told you. Okay, anyway, about the actual episode.
All right, Jerry Springer.
Oh,
That would be
Remove
Maury.
this title.
That would have been Maury. Anyway.
There we go.
Yeah, that's the guy who says you are the father. The guy who Jerry Springer is the one who just
Moving on, still Crimson.
Okay. I think this episode is again a weaker episode, but definitely not the weakest. I did actually get a few laughs out of it. It did get irritating after a while that Rainbow Dash just kept doing what the voice, the Applejack in her head said. So it kind of pulled me out sometimes. The writing was all right. Comedically, it was kind of it was pretty fun. Girls Gone Wild. The parts where I felt the most uncomfortable. Let's see here. Anytime they include in anything sexual. Also, did anybody see in the background of the dancing scene? It's on the far right of
Sven Phillip, yeah.
Yeah, he's there drinking, and you're like, hey!
Yeah, take that, Sven Phillip, for ruining Rara's image until she was able to stand on her own.
Otherwise, writing's not that great. The comedy is kind of fun. Would I go out of my way to see this episode? I would probably skip all the sexual bits where I was just like, no. Just, no. Go in the corner. Episode, go in the corner for that. Go in the corner. You stay there for like 20 minutes, and then we can get back to everything. References were fun. It's not really a whole lot for me to say about this episode. Other than this is a small-ass casino. Because we keep seeing the same exact people.
I mean, then again, it might be like Weekend. It is the Weekend.
A casino mixed with a Chuck E. Cheese, according to some of the stuff there.
Right? Like, they got like the slot... They don't have, like, slot machines, but they have, like, that jump...
Skee-ball?
Jump... Yeah, they have skee ball and that jumping game. You know, the one where from Chuck E. Cheese and Dave Buster's where they have the light and you have to jump over the light.
Okay,
Yeah.
Diving over ignorance to cultural differences here. We don't have Chuck E. Cheese's over in this country.
Okay.
What do you have?
It's basically like
I don't know what a Chuck E. Cheese is.
Yeah.
It's
a place
Freddy
you take your
Fazbear.
kids for your birthday when you don't want to go through the trouble of throwing them a party.
It's It's what Freddy Fazbear is based off.
Yeah, we don't have that over here.
Or McDonald's. right?
Really?
You don't
It's
have
a children's pizza restaurant with arcade games.
And animatronics.
Yeah.
No, we don't
Yeah.
have that.
creepy animatronics.
We don't have that at all.
Alright. Deliver, how about your turn?
I don't know if I want to say it though.
Okay, Omniviewer, your turn.
Well, I think I'm kind of lukewarm about it as well. I'm very confused by the final shot. The scene where the floating Applejack head appears in the sky and winks like she was in on it all along.
Yeah, that was
so nice.
That was
Like,
weird.
It's like I was half expecting it to be like, okay, was there a scene cut where Applejack reveals it was all a test or something? Because that doesn't make sense even if there is that scene.
If we all went back and then Applejack just got a slap in the face by Granny Smith and just be like, I told you not to interfere with my life anymore.
I did like the bit. I did like the bit when the grannies were complaining about Rainbow Dash being a wet blanket, and she said, "But I'm just doing what Applejack told me," and they're like, "Oh, Applejack."
Like, this is what she usually does.
Yep.
That was totally off that part.
And this is why Applejack can't be a leader of a family.
Well, she does lead in other ways we've seen. It actually kind of reminded me of the winking shot at the end of that bit in Steven Universe where after, they give Lars the fire salt that Amethyst was using to prank Steven at the very end where she's like, after all the dust is settled, we make a good team, huh, Steven? And Steven just, you did literally nothing. And then it fades out with her going, eh. So, I'm cool with that. But we were on Omniviewer's turn, though.
Other than the ending out of nowhere, I don't have much to say about it. So, I just felt that was a weird part. It either didn't need to be there or it needed a better explanation. That's all I really have to say.
Otherwise, you are about as meh on this episode as you could be.
Pretty much. I don't love it. I don't hate it. It just is there.
Fair enough. How about now, Day?
No.
Alright.
It's like walking into your parents having sex.
I don't need that image in my head.
From experience.
Like it's something that needed to be done to make create.
No, it didn't.
It did not need to be done if that was all there was going to be to that sentence.
But I also think it's a good mixture of the Golden Girls and midlife housewives. No, what that show called?
Desperate Housewives?
Yeah, Desperate Housewives. Yeah.
Which one?
All of them.
Okay.
But yeah, I enjoyed most of the humor in this, of course. But yeah, it's just better if I just move along and give it to someone else.
Just smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave.
Yeah.
Calliope.
I think this episode had some really good ideas. I really like the idea of Rainbow Dash and the grandmas hanging out in Las Pegasus. I think that's a really fun premise. I just felt like the script maybe needed a couple more rewrites to smooth everything out a bit.
Yeah.
For the most part, the jokes landed. There were a couple that didn't. It got a little tedious with Rainbow doing the same thing over and over. And yeah, Applejack's part, it's like they wanted to have Applejack play a role in the story, but they didn't really know what to do with her.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah, I guess.
I saw something.
Yeah, like I can completely believe that Applejack would always be a wet blanket on the grandma's vacation because she was trying to take care of them and they just wanted to have fun. And then maybe they thought they'd finally be able to have a good time with Rainbow Dash, but then she's doing the exact same thing Applejack's always done. But then Applejack doesn't learn a lesson at the end. She seems like, yay, I'm winking at the camera. So, I don't know, I was a little confused.
I'm just wondering if she just wanted to prank it, Rainbow Dash, and like there was just a scene that was cut out that was like, oh, hey, why did you do that? We were having a great time. Well, you see, remember that time where you had me wake up in a pigsty?
No, I think the first
best joke ever.
I think the best first question there would be, Applejack, how the fuck can you telepathically create an image of yourself where I am? You don't have any magic.
And then she showcases like behind like the curtain. It's like Starlight helping her. It's like
I was gonna say she's coming back working on the farm, and Arnie's just like, "Hey, Applejack, how did you do that?" And she's just like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
So yeah, just to sum up, I thought the episode was fairly entertaining, had some good ideas, but the writing could use a little tweaking here and there.
Yeah. That's pretty similar to my own thoughts, actually. But it's not my turn, it is editors.
Sexual innuendos is magic.
Yay!
Hooray!
Okay, I actually was close to throwing up in this video.
Yeah, that's actually very true.
The one thing that I cannot stand, like, in life, and I'm probably a horrible person for saying this, but I literally find it so horrible when I see old people pretending to be young.
oh.
Yeah, they're there and they're trying to pretend that they're young again. It's like, oh my god, please just stop. You're not old. You're old now. Act old. You're not young anymore. You are going to kill yourself, you stupid old thing.
Wow,
That's depressing.
I know. I literally, that is just my tick. I cannot stand watching old people pretending to be young again. It's embarrassing.
I feel bad for Crimson.
Well,
why do you feel bad for her? She's younger than I am.
Hey.
The reason why she feels bad is because if I become an old maid, you're gonna have to deal with it.
No, babe. I'm gonna pretend to be old with you and just shout at our children constantly to get our stuff.
Well,
They are young at heart.
Yes.
They're young.
I mean, like,
that's the point of this. They're supposed to be young at heart, and that's what's supposed to be so funny.
well, real life morals aside, like as far as how you play it in stories and in comedic stories and such, I'm okay with it if it's done well. For example, Rodney Dangerfield as a fun life of the party kind of guy. Heck yeah, he kills it in every comedic bit he does, even if some of his movies sure didn't. But
No.
Betty White, yeah, doing like having fun and doing self-parody at the same time. Heck yeah, I'm all for that. This episode certainly isn't any of that, but what? Okay, but
Second, now you've got me wanting Betty White in this episode.
Oh my god,
That would have been nice.
The best cameo.
that would be the best.
yeah.
It was. I want a Betty White pony now.
Oh.
I think the Betty White pony is supposed to be saucy.
My biggest issue with the episode, though, and like I don't think that the Granny's acting young bits were as big a deal, I guess, as some people seem to. I mean, I thought it was cringe comedy that wasn't entirely successful. What are you gonna do? But yeah, I have more of an issue with the stuff that is kind of the same issues I have with the one where Pinkie Pie knows, or the Daring Done, or the Fluttershy episode where she's trying to start a sanctuary, where they go through the same note over and over and over and act like this pattern has some kind of purpose here that's a story, just hammering the scene again like something out of well, heck, I'll just lay it up front, like something out of an elementary school chapter book, like the lady who wrote all of those episodes and this one that I just went through is known for writing about MLP.
GM Barrow.
Like, I mean, I feel like it's kind of her style that she, she was probably brought on because she wrote those chapter books, and actually, some of the notes that even seem kind of odd in this episode, like in, I'm not going to come up with the one where Fluttershy builds her animal sanctuary, the name of it that is, but that episode starts out like, okay, one day, Angel Bunny was trying bunny parkour, and then he hurt his foot. So then they went to the vet, but there were too many animals. And then Fluttershy remembered that she had always wanted to build an animal sanctuary. Okay, if you think about that, if you think of that as the first few chapters of just this day in the life pony story, it suddenly fits better than it does as in an episode that has 22 minutes to tell its story. But
Right.
Now that you're saying that, yeah, that makes sense. I hadn't thought of it, but yeah.
That said, though, while this episode does insist on that formula a little bit too much for me, I felt like for GM Barrow, there is a lot of energy here and some pretty good comedic timing. Like, this is probably where people are going to take it anyway, so I think it's at its best when the grannies are going wild, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Like when, like, not when they're hitting on the bellboy, but no, when like Granny Smith and,
Not when they're hitting on the bellboy, but everything else is good.
That poor bell.
The bellboy was the best part.
But yeah, but like when they're having a good time.
That poor bellboy.
That poor bellboy. Okay, a moment of silence for the bellboy.
Also, like, if Rainbow Dash was going to stop them for being excited, what is she doing? Why is she not stopping Applesaucy? They're not supposed to get excited, right?
Okay, I'm just going to...
That's a simple answer for that. You get tired after doing it.
Well, we get tired of everything else that they do as well.
I'm gonna cut you guys off.
Just make sure that they don't break a hip.
But no, like when they're talking about just all the stuff they know, like the back of their hoof and Las Pegasus, when they're tearing up the dance floor, like scoring big points and ring toss or horseshoes or whatever it was. That's when I think this episode is at its best. But like by just repeating the same note with the Applejack head and really not doing it any differently, the episode itself sort of becomes a wet blanket. Like it, I mean, you know, it's...
Yeah.
I feel like, it's afraid to be the make new friends but keep Discord episode. It kind of could have been just like, you know, still let the gags happen, let the fun happen, see how far you can take it, and then check back in with the, well, okay, but yeah, we're supposed to be worried about such and such to keep it, to make sure, to keep it focused, to keep it going somewhere, like make that the clothesline to hang the gags and the fun moments on. Like, don't just tie it down to that.
Like what you're suggesting, second, is like maybe it's like more of an episode of like sort of like leap of faith of like the grannies are off doing like their fantastic adventures, and Rainbow Dash is trying her best in order to like try to stop them from doing so, but fails at every point until like the point of Jackpot and his magician partner essentially doing the thing, and she's able to successfully stop them before like the grannies would be in any perceived danger, and that's when they would comment about the wet blanket statement, just being like, "We noticed you've been trying to stop our fun this entire day, and we haven't been able to like fully get the thrill out of like being here in Las Pegasus. So why aren't you being as cool as we thought you were?"
Well, granted, I don't think Leap of Faith is that great either, but, I mean, if it does have an edge over this episode, I would say it's that it's keeping the focus on the character conflict that Applejack is going through, whereas Rainbow Dash, it's less a character conflict than a plot-driven conflict.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the character conflict, I mean, I guess, like, if you wanted to make this a story about, like, Rainbow Dash sort of bonding with these grannies, so, like, forming this fun friendship, you could have gone that direction, too, and made it sort of a character drama, well, drama in quotation marks, but, yeah, just, I mean, heck, I feel like it couldn't have done any of that stuff unless it, like, broke this, formula it's sticking to pretty rigidly. I mean, it's as much as it does sort of seem to have a good sense of, like, how people in this situation might have fun, might, have a good handle on, what's the word? Might know what they're talking about in a place like Los Pegasus, might, be used to these kinds of events and be able to show you how much fun they are. It still limits what it can do with that by insisting on the wet blanket approach over and over.
Yeah. You still got a good ride in the roller coaster, though.
How long is this podcast?
Long.
So you guys want to check out?
After Rainbow Dash got the ride.
Yes, we end at Grandma's wanting to get wild.
Yeah.
That
seems like a good stopping point.
Yeah.
That was a good stop.
Before we got to that point, because my god.
Alright, well, you got it over with.
Actually,
Got it
with
done.
the fake it till you make it, I was thinking also like theater stuff, right?
Yeah.
Next time.
Persona. Wait,
Next time on the Cafe Cast.
Will
Will editor be... Will editor get over his fear of grandma's going wild? Will Omniviewer be able to finish his novel? Will Gunmetal be able to be more metal? Will Calliope Pony and Crimson Glow be able to finish that one collab that they've never been able to finish?
And will we talk about surf or turf or both?
And will we get a second opinion?
Day. Yay!
Will we skewer the episode or will we shield it from any worry? I know.
And will Crimson's butt grow any bigger?
Let me see how many more Twinkies I need.
Alright. That is the perfect note to end on, of course. Because it actually one-ups the granny cringe humor, so... Alright, this is your Cafe Cast signing out. Well, they didn't take me up on that, so I'll just say, yeah. Thanks for coming.
You kind of just like
you gotta go home, but you gotta get the hell out of here. Bye-bye.
See y'all.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Good night.